What you have here is the blue version 1 Gen 3 control pad that I had up for sale. I took it off the sale to enhance the dead spot and circularity calibrations. It's now ready to go back up, and I'll just show you the results. I got slightly better dead spot results with twin trim pots, but it was so tight it really couldn't go much further than that. So it's the blue version 1 Gen 3 JDM-030. I've got the old single trim pot calibrations on there and what I replaced them with on the sheet. That's the refit, how many trim pots I used. And the average error is 10.3 now on both sticks, so that's smaller than what it was. That's the soldered positions, positives and negatives. And this is the one with the aftermarket battery in it. It has got 6 hours and 35 minutes of constant playtime, but I've realised that when you charge it and you leave it standing around, it will just flatten its own battery. It works, but I mean, this is a viable pad. It's all been trim pot calibrated. If you've got an old version 1 Dualshock 4 lying about and you know it's got a good battery but everything else is buggered about it, come on, turn on. You could replace the battery in this and you'd have a better battery out of it, and you could even replace some of the other components, the plastic membrane touchpad components, because I had, I had problems with, let me just pick it up and have a look at it. I think it was the right D-pad position, I think, was ruptured, but I've silicone fixed that, and it was the L2 and R2 triggers. I filled the voids of the silicone ports on them just to get a full 100% press out of them. Now this is the actual soldered board view. Don't mind the dirt, that ain't going to harm anything. That is leftover flux that's not been cleaned off of the Captain tape, because I've had to change these out a few times. I mean, you see this, the one top right, that's that 50k resistance trim pot, and on the sheet on the left hand side, left stick, I had tried 20-20 split, I tried a 30-20 split, and even a, was it 30-20, and even a 30-30 split, so that would have been 60k total. But for some reason it was always tight to the plus side, so the right hand side was always tight at that 07451 position, and it didn't really seem like it was doing a lot for us. So I've put back to 50k and it seemed to have opened out the circularity on that right side, but it's an equal split of 07451 at worst, so your dead spot calibration won't be affected, just for the sake of getting slightly smaller axis O negative result of 0.6667, which is the one bar down. It just wasn't worth the hassle for that one. But the rest of them, they did seem to get a better result, even though the paperwork is reflecting exactly the same. It was the circularities that made it look a bit better. So you get a mixed result when you use singles or doubles. You can't win them all. Right, let's go to live test. Live test, let's scroll that. Yeah, right, it's still connected. Still connected? Yep, there you go. There's the touchpad. Scroll in here out. Clicky button. Right, click button and it will highlight. Turn it off. Sit. So, what we got? X, circle, square, triangle, L1, R1, L2, that's the one that I filled the void, so got 100% full press out of it, and that's at the end of the run there, look. Same on B7, 100%. Right, what was B8? B8 was share, options, left stick button, right stick button, what we got, up button, up D-pad, down D-pad, left, and it was the right D-pad which was inconsistent before I silicon fixed it, but it's now fine, and I can push the up down buttons without it triggering B15, so it's not actually affected its functionality. And PS button. But as I say, if you've got one of the old version 1, Gen 1 through 3 I think it is, the parts, the silicon parts are interchangeable, not the cases. The Gen 3 case has got the screw post on the opposite side, so you can't mess about with too many of the components, but there is a website you can look at to see exactly what you can interchange, and I'll put that in the description or the comments. Right, let's retest that. Sorry, reset that. Reset that. Full pass. And as I was saying, on this right stick, the 07451 position using twin trim pots was stupidly tight around there, so you didn't have that overshoot for some reason. No matter what twin split I used, it was really tight, so I don't understand the full workings of it. I just know I've got it to work now. And it's tight on that side, but it works fine. That's a, what's that, 0667 worst report. Right, let's just start with the left stick, shall we? 07451 was the worst report we could get it to stand at, and it's not. There we go. That's it. It's reproduced. And then same on the opposite side. Was the worst. There it is, and it drops off, which is a good sign. Up down on that stick was 05882, and that is hard to produce on this. I think they drop off, which is good. Oh, there it is, 05882. I think the other one was down that side. Was it down that side? Don't know. Well, 05882 is hard to produce there, which is a good sign. Right, let's just do return to centre, flicking the stick outer. It's fairly decent, look at it. 0392s. Right stick 0667 was axis 2. And that's not playing ball, it's going 05882. They were the absolute worst positions recorded, which is right. 06, can I get it over this side? Nope, can't get it to reproduce. Right, top to bottom 02745, that was really good. And it always drops off to that on that one. And this overbloom here is probably because there's stick wear on the actual stick itself, so the stick is travelling further south. That's why you're getting the overbloom there. 02745. What else is there to right, axis O is a 50k for that left to right, a single 50k. Axis 1 used to be 100k, but then that's a split of 30 50, 30 on the negative, 50 on the positive, but they're bridged in the middle with a wire, so it transfers the current across the whole lot. It's just biased it slightly one way or the other. If you only fit one, then it will only allow you to go to the center position, but I've got twins on there with a wire. Axis 2 used to be a 50k pot, and that is now 2020. That's the first time I've ever used 40k total resistance. But as they're in their nearly in their fully open position, it's near enough using the whole range, like the maximum resistance that I can get out of it. Because if you shorten the track, shorten the current flow length, that will add that will reduce the resistance even more. And that's what drags in your outer circularity and shrinks your dead spot. Axis 3 had an 100k in there, but that's now a 50-50 split, just because I had a slightly better circularity result or more control over it. don't know, it could probably even be 100k, but it's not worth changing out. And that I was looking at the circularity in comparison to the old results, and this seems to give me a nice out of circularity, and the average error has reduced this way around on both sticks. It's 10.3, well, it's 10.3 balanced both sides, so you can't really argue with the results on that. And that's it. Thanks for watching that. That's the update to this, and I'm going to stick that on the sales page.